We have bolted past the Super Bowl, enjoyed Mardi Gras, and we have freshened up our look as we begin the long offseason anticipation for the New Orleans Saints. And they're not the only ones we're anticipating. The LSU Tigers had the best coaching search in the land of college football and the best portal class in the brief history of portal classes. Who else better to talk about all this than our favorite guest, Mike Detillier, who joins us for the third consecutive Dat season premiere. That's right. Even Gabe is fired up about season 6 of the Dattitude podcast. And the good news is that it starts right now.
Ready to hear the straight scoop on local and national sports? It's time for Jim Derry's take on the Saints, LSU, what betting lines to ponder, and more. He's got opinions, he's got insight, and he's got Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? I haven't been able to say that in a little bit. Miss me? Did you miss me? Did you miss me? I know you missed me. To steal a line from the Culture Club. I know you missed me. Maybe you didn't miss me, Blonde. Thank you all so much. I missed you all as well, except, not going to say it. Let's not mention any names. Let's get this season kicked off in the right way. Let's just tell you that this is indeed the season 6 premiere of Dattitude, and it's episode number 475, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, February the 23rd, 2026. That's right. I got a new backdrop. Finally, I finally changed it. It's been a while. I finally changed it. I found a picture that I absolutely loved. My friend David Grunfeld took this many years ago. This is a fairly old picture, but you wouldn't know it. It's so good. It's so good of a picture. Picture the New Orleans skyline. I think it's maybe 12, 13 years old. Anyway, Grunge took it. That was good enough for me. I'm using it in my backdrop. In case you found us by accident, you're wondering to yourself, who the hell is this clown? Well, the answer is I am Jim Derry, 35 plus years on the New Orleans sports media scene. Whether this is show number 1 for you or show number 475 or somewhere in between, I thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. We got all kinds of, we've done all kinds of stuff to freshen up our look this season 6. We're going to have a lot of fun today because for the third, as I told you earlier, the third straight season premiere, we have our favorite guest on, Mike Detillier. We're going to talk Saints. We're going to talk LSU. We're going to talk about some other stuff before Mike comes on. Mike's not coming on until about 11:30 because I knew I'd have an extended monologue. There's all sorts of things I want to talk about with y'all this morning. So it'll be mostly Saints. It'll be mostly LSU football. We will sneak in a few other things. We'll talk about LSU baseball in a minute. I want to give a shout out during Mardi Gras. Speaking of Mardi Gras, how about this? Our friend Musette. A shout out to Musette Hood. I don't know if she's in the crowd or not today. I haven't got to the comments yet, but she made me this beautiful little decorated chalice. More gifts to the Dattitude podcast. We got some stuff headed towards Musette. We're going to hook you up. We're going to send you a few things as well. It might not be as good as that, but that's pretty cool. That was just one of the things she sent me. She sent me a couple other things too. Beautiful. Always much appreciated here on the Dattitude podcast. Look, I'm not going to lie. We love gifts, you know? If y'all want to say hello, you want to shower us with some gifts, we're not going to say no. All right. Some other things, you want to talk about Mardi Gras, and I know there's not a lot of people in the crowd. What did y'all do this Mardi Gras season? I'm coming to the comments in a little bit. I'm going to say hello in just a moment. I promise that is what is special about the show. You know that, especially on Mondays, even when we have a guest, you talk to us, we talk back to you. But I want to show y'all this while I'm thinking about it before I forget. I had a great Mardi Gras. It was look, as much as I love y'all, I had to get away. I had to get away from my computer. I went back to work, I think on Thursday. I didn't even do the shorts that I promised y'all. I had a lot of shorts in the queue that were all ready to go, and I didn't even put them up. So we'll just have to do them now. But I had to get away from this computer. I literally didn't turn it on for over a week, except for I did some freelance. I take it back. I did some freelance. I used it to write some stories. But other than writing stories that had nothing to do with Dattitude, I got away from it. And it was great. And most of y'all know that I ride in the crew of Endymion. Saw a few of you out there. Thanks for shouting me out. But I wanted to show you, in case you wanted to know, what it's like to ride on a Mardi Gras float in the crew of Endymion. Now, I took this little clip. I like to show this every year. I don't know if I showed it last year or not, but this may be, I'll give you a little heads up, this may or may not be my last ride in Endymion. We'll see. When you're independent, it's a little hard to justify as much money as we're spending to ride. But look, it's I've told y'all this before. It's worth every cent. If you ever wanted to know what it was like to ride in a Mardi Gras parade, I took a short video. And this is in the very beginning before the crowds got absolutely insane. Okay. But I figured I would show you. It's a 50-second clip of us probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes after we turned on New Orleans Avenue. So this is the very beginning of the route. So the crowds, again, this is probably about half of what they got to be later on. But if you ever wanted to know what it's like for people to shout at you, imagine this for 4.5 hours straight. 50 seconds, and we'll see you on the other side. I was on the Taylor Swift float. I was a Swiftie for 4.5 hours. That is the closest that I will ever get to being a Swiftie. I promise you. The good news is DJ did a great job. And I will say this. There was one moment where we stopped in St. Charles for probably like 45 minutes. Like literally we sat in the same spot for 45 minutes. Then we moved like 10 feet and stopped for another 10 minutes and moved for like 10 feet and stopped for another 10 minutes. And then finally we got moving again. I think they were trying to coordinate when we were going in the dome, way ahead of us, obviously. But when we stopped for that 45 minutes, they played nothing but Taylor Swift music. For that 40, other than that, it was great. The DJ did a great job. But when you hear 45 straight minutes of Taylor Swift when you're not a Swiftie, it can get to be a little much. What happened this weekend? All right, let's get to it. I cannot go without mentioning LSU baseball. I told you, I think I said Cokie Riley is coming on the show on Wednesday. The fantastic LSU baseball beat writer for the Times-Picayune and the Advocate, NOLA.com. He will be here on Wednesday. We'll talk a lot about LSU baseball, probably talk a little bit about LSU football and LSU women's basketball as well. The LSU baseball team 8-0. We had some members, and again, please consider supporting the channel if you want to become a member. You can become a part of our Slack channel as well. We hit where we conversed amongst ourselves. We had I think at least one, maybe more than one. I don't know. Gabe was telling me about this, and I kind of missed it, and then I went back and saw it. But some Dattitude members who were worried that LSU's offense was a little suspect because they had a slow start in one of the games they played. But I think they're doing okay. They're 8-0, and I had to add them up. I definitely needed a calculator for this. They have now scored 97 runs in 8 games. 97 runs, and I'd say that's a pretty good start when you're 8-0 and you scored 97 runs in your first 8 games. How about this weekend? Played in Jacksonville, Florida at the Jax College Baseball Classic, where they faced Indiana, beat them by a touchdown, 14-7. That's right, the national champs. Oh, wait, I mean baseball, sorry. They beat the baseball team 14-7. Notre Dame 9-4, and then yesterday against the team that was supposed to be the best team in there besides LSU, they just manhandled Central Florida 11-0 in 7 innings in a game that was shortened by the mercy rule. Again, 97 runs. And look, they got a good chance to be 13-0 this same time. Well, I guess at the end of the day, next Monday, because they play a 4-game series coming up next week. They play McNeese on Tuesday at home. They're about to come home. They are coming home. They are home probably. And they will now play McNeese tomorrow night on Tuesday. Then they have a 4-game round robin against Dartmouth and Northeastern. Dartmouth, of course, Ivy League, Hanover, New Hampshire. I did not know where Northeastern was. I should have known this. I had to look it up. They're from Boston. You think they're glad to be, and they're probably in Baton Rouge already. They had to get out of there. In case you didn't notice, the Northeast is getting just buried. They are having an awful winter. My sister lives in Massachusetts. They are just getting snow. I mean, when I say snowed under, it is miserable up there. But anyway, they're coming down to play a series. Dartmouth and Northeastern. So LSU will play Dartmouth on Friday and Sunday, and Northeastern on Saturday and Monday. We're going to talk to Koki Riley again about LSU baseball. It's about time we start talking about something else. Today's going to be Saints and LSU. Today's going to be all football as we come back on our season 6 premiere. But we got to talk about LSU baseball. We have not done that yet. We will on Wednesday. And then maybe a little bit on Friday when Zach comes on. We'll see. And then one more thing before I get to some of the comments here, as I know you all missed me, and I see there's a lot of comments back there. I got to get to them. Gabe says, by the way, he counted. I'm glad he counted. It only took me 10 minutes and 45 seconds of season 6 to talk about the weather. Channeling my inner Nash Roberts because it's what I do. One last thing before I get to some of the comments. I don't know if y'all saw this or not, and you know, I like to poke fun at our friends from Lafayette whenever I get a chance to. No, they're like the little pesky brother you just like to pummel into oblivion, and every now and then they get a good shot on you, right? But did you see social media this weekend of them being a little? And I don't remember who posted it. Multiple people posted this, actually. I went and looked, and I found at least 3 people on social media that posted this, and I'm sure there's many more. Because that's not even counting all the ridiculous comments of, what is it with the ooh-la-la inferiority complex with LSU? You see, we keep going on with it. The LSU people just keep going on with it because we know it pisses you off. What is it about the ooh-la-la people who just can't stand it when we call them ooh-la-la or Lafayette or ULL or UL Lafayette? You're not the University of Louisiana. I hate to tell you that. You are the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. So you can call yourselves whatever you want. You can call yourselves, I don't know, the University of Hoodatville if you want. Doesn't mean you're the University of Hoodatville. Just like when you call yourself the University of Louisiana. But here's the thing. We like to keep poking and prodding you because we know it pisses you off. Okay, so let's poke and prod. I meant to post the actual tweet, and I didn't get a chance to. I forgot. Can't say I didn't get a chance to. I just forgot is what it came down to. But I had enough time to write it in the script. So someone got real highly offended, and this kind of started a firestorm of comments, that the umpire and the Lafayette played they played Maryland this past weekend. I know that yesterday they won in 15 innings because my son was watching part of the game, and my nephew was also watching it. But I think it was Friday's game. It could be a different day. If it was a different day, I don't know. Whatever. They had an umpire had a review, and when it came out, he said the call is upheld. Lafayette is safe, or whatever it was. I don't care. What you know what I mean. But he used the term. He called them Lafayette. And it started a fire. Are you really getting that pissed off because an umpire called your team Lafayette? Is that where we are today? Really? I'm telling you, you need to go take a look at it. Find it on X. Do a search for umpire and Lafayette. I'm sure it'll come up immediately. And then people started jumping on the bandwagon, and other Lafayette fans, the Lafayette Cajun fans, just started losing their minds. And you wonder why we keep poking fun of you, because you keep taking offense to stupid crap. That doesn't matter. So we're going to keep poking at you. Lafayette, ooh la la, whatever you want to call yourselves. I'm just not calling you what you want me to call you. And I don't have to anymore because I'm independent. I actually got a note before I move on. Last thing. I actually got a note once. They got really offended when I called them. I don't even remember what the story was or why they came up. But I was writing a story that involved their school. And I called them, I think it was a recruiting story. And I called them UL Lafayette. And then on second reference, I called them ULL. And my boss at the time basically wrote me a note and says, "Let's don't offend them. They get really upset when you do that." Yeah. So I just did my best to stop writing about them. That's how you handle that. All right, let's go to the comment stream and see what everybody's talking about this morning. It's been a while since I've been able to do this. Of course, UBN is first. No comments yet. Is everyone still on vacay? We're here. Jerry's here. Season 6 starts now, and it is NFL Scouting Combine Week. We're going to ask Mike Detillier. I got a question for him, and you can answer this too if you want. One of the questions I'm going to ask Mike is, what is more important for the Saints this offseason? I think it's a little bit different for every team, right? Maybe. But is it more important to have a better free agency? You want them to do better in free agency? I mean, of course you want them to do great in both. Do you want them to do better in free agency, or do you want them to do better in the draft? Which one is more important? Again, I know they're both important. You can't say both. Duh. Of course you want them to do great in both. But I want to hear from you. Free agency or the draft? Which one's more important? Kyle Sherman is here. Of course he is. Let's go. Season 6 is here. Welcome back, Kyle. Dylan Smith. We are back. We're here. You missed us. Good morning. We missed you too. Earl's Picks. He's here. Woohoo. Mark Kapsky is here. Good morning. You missed us, Who Dat family. That's right. We're all here. Let's see. Oh, Jerry, we got to give you 1,001. I completely forgot, my friend. I've been so wrapped, you know me, wrapped up in this. Go find Jerry's page. Breaking news. He hit 1,000 subscribers on Sunday night. Let's go. Congratulations, my friend. Mark, we're going to talk about this. Saints over under 7.5 wins. We will definitely talk about that this afternoon. Gabe says, by the way, the draft saves money in the long run. Rookies are cheaper. You can fill those holes with free agents. Again, we've talked about it. I mean, how much money do we think the Saints are really going to have? I don't know. That's something we'll be talking about going forward. Maybe not. We're not going to be talking a whole lot about. We'll probably come up, but we're not going to talk a whole lot about money today. Well, we'll see if it comes up. UBN hit his goal of 0.0 parades this Mardi Gras. You know, I will say this. This was probably the least amount of parades that I've been to definitely is. And I went to Eve in Mandeville, which was the first night of parade season. There were so many things going on in our household, and me getting ready for Endymion and everything else. And we had an illness one or 2 days, not me. And I didn't go to parades that whole week. And then obviously I rode Endymion, so that counts going to a parade, right? And then we went on Mardi Gras Day. One of my best friends is a horse riding lieutenant in Rex. And we went and saw him. It was Little Lou's, and I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, but my daughter's 10th birthday. She celebrated on Mardi Gras. And so she wanted to go see our friend. And I don't know if I'm supposed to mention, probably not supposed to mention these things on the air, so I'm not going to say who he is. But anyway, he gave us some loot. It was a lot of fun. Rocky's here. Good morning. Dat Nation, baby. Rocky is here. In fact, right as he's not watching the show. I'm almost positive he's not watching the show. He literally just texted me, the person that I was talking about. That is crazy. That's insane. Jerry wants to trade Derek Carr to the Rams. I don't think that's going to happen. But that'll probably come up today, too. Apathy, a broken heart float. Perfect segue into the Saints drafting some offensive tackle at 8 from a school nobody's heard of in this year's draft. Now, that is the way to have some positive thinking, Apathy. Man, really? That's how we're going to start? That's how we're going to start this morning? Come on, man. Earl's Picks. How about USA Hockey? It's funny you say that. Should I put that in the script that I didn't get to yet? But how about a fist pump? Fist pump for Jack Hughes. You don't know who he is? I didn't know who he was until yesterday. The USA winning the gold medal in hockey for just the second time in my lifetime. It is certainly worth talking about this morning. I'm glad you brought it up, Earl. I probably would have forgot. Meanwhile, you want to talk about ooh la la, and maybe, the Cajuns, didn't they come down from Canada? Didn't they stroll their way? They came over from France to Canada first and strolled their way down. They made their way down from Canada. Ooh la la, being sore losers. Canadians being sore losers. I thought there was no crying in hockey. Coach John Cooper said, quote, "You take 4 players off the ice, now hockey's not hockey anymore." What's he talking about? I actually agree with him on this point. But the way they do overtime, in case you didn't see the gold medal game yesterday, the way they do overtime is so weird. I don't know why they do it this way. They changed to 3-on-3, I guess because they wanted to get it over with, and that's the best way to get it over with. But here's the thing. So while I thought it was weird, and I don't necessarily like that format. And he says, so you take 4 players off the ice, now hockey's not hockey anymore. But again, while I agree with him, I wonder if he would have said that had the Canadians won. Probably not. Sidney Crosby said, "We did everything but score. We deserved better." Actually, you deserved the silver medal, and that's what you got. Nathan McKinnon said, quote, "You be the judge of who was the better team today." Okay, Nathan, I will. The red, white, and blue had the blue medal. So I think it was the Americans. Final medal count. Closing ceremonies are done. Norway, 41 medals, 18 gold medals. U.S. came in second. 33 medals, 12 of them gold. Italy came in third with 30 medals, 10 of them gold. And Germany, 26 medals, 8 gold. How much of the Olympics did y'all watch? I love hockey, and generally I watch a decent amount of the Olympics, but this year, I got to be honest. I watched it yesterday morning. I got up early. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched a lot of it. It was fantastic. I love curling. I really do. I don't know how they do that. Curling, I think, is fantastic. Gabe says, just wait until we find out about the 8 OT rules in the NHL playoffs. Anyway, I enjoyed the hell out of it, but I wish I would have been able to see more of it. I did not get to see more of it, so we'll see. All right, before we keep going, I want to give a shout out and some love because Mike's going to be coming on any minute now. Before we get to the rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. Just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. I love Evangeline Securities. They have been with us since almost the start of season 4. That's how long they've been with us. A long time, Evangeline Securities. They can figure out what that business is worth. If it's you, if it's someone you know, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you will be well-informed and begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? We'll fill you in more after Mike D says goodbye later on. In the meantime, you can check him out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. As you see on the screen, you can also check out my friend, Joe DiStefano. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all. And with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. Yep. Time to get on with the show. Again, Mike D coming on in about 5 minutes here this morning. Lance doesn't like it when we talk about you-know-who. But he probably did get a kick out of talking about ooh la la. Yep, I still call him USL. My friend Shane Bergeron is here. I crack him up. He's watching LSU and Ooh La La on Saturday. You can tell the commentators were from the Lafayette area when they kept saying his last name is Bergeron instead of Bergeron. He had to educate his partners. The further west you go, his name changes. Lots of name changes when you go out west. Earl says he calls them the University of Lose-A-Lot. Okay. I didn't say that. Earl did. My friend Sav is here. Welcome back. The road to the Padres winning the World Series has begun. Come on, man. I don't think so. This year, he thinks free agency is more important. Need O-line help. It is important. Yeah, the Cubs are 0-3 in spring training. Well, I think they were 0-5 when they started last. They were bad to start last year. Lance says, Cam 1 year, $12 million. No. Can't give Cam $12 million. Demario 2 years, $20 million. Not going to be enough. I don't think Demario's coming back. I'm going to ask Mike what he thinks. I think Cam comes back, but for less than $12 million. I think he comes back. I'm going to say 8 with maybe 2 more of incentive. I think with incentives, he's going to have a chance to make $10 million. 12's too much. Alante Taylor, 4 years, $11 million per. Break the bank for Linderbaum. Olave, 4 years, $30 million per. Year 14 option. That sounds reasonable, possibly. Kyle says the Cajuns were booted out of Canada by the English. He knows more history than I do. Good morning, Dattitude. Good morning, Adam Varner. Let's see what else we got. Rob says he watched more Olympic coverage than he thought he would. My intention was to. And you're right. He says the short track speed skaters are nuts. Don't get him started on the ski jumpers. Adam says, as of right now, LSU is the best baseball team in the country. They are number 2. UCLA swept TCU this weekend. According to the voters, LSU is number 2. Mark Gapsky says, Bleacher Report has Isaiah Pacheco, one of the Saints. We'll see. We're going to talk about free agency. And Adam Varner wants to know, who do I think is more important in the team, Cam or Demario? I don't know. We'll ask Mike what he thinks in just a moment. Before we move on, before I bring Mike on, I would like to remind you about subscribing. Please consider supporting the channel. If you like what you see and hear, I know you're going to like what you hear over the next 45 minutes to an hour when Mike comes on. If you love it, just subscribe first. And if you love it, you want to help independent sports journalists, that's me. You can become a member. You can figure out how to do it. Also, if you want to talk to me or if you want to talk to me after the show, or if you're watching not live, you can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr. You can email me, jim@jimderry.com. You know what's different about our show. You talk to us, we talk back. But right now, it is time to bring on my friend Mike Detillier is here. And Michael, welcome this morning. I don't know if you know this or not, but 3 years in a row now, our season premiere, we have started with you. You have become our favorite guest. You are the man in the know, and Mike Detillier again here on another season premiere. Season 6 of the Dattitude podcast starts today.
Well, thank you, Jim. You do a great job, and always my pleasure when you ask me to come on.
Well, and we certainly appreciate it. And just about, unless you got something that you've already committed to, you have said yes every single time, and we appreciate that so much. All right, let's get right into it, because I know the fans out there, they want to hear your thoughts on things. I'm going to start with that question. I'm going to put it back up on the screen and have you. Let's just start with this. This is not what I planned on starting with, but it's fine. It's up there. Who do you think is more important to this Saints team, Cameron Jordan or Demario Davis?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I would, if you say, hey, got to make an answer, I would say Demario Davis. He's an every down guy. It's unbelievable at his age to play at that level that he's playing in. Cam is in a pro football Hall of Famer. And there's no question. But if you asking me for today, I would say Demario, and I think he's going to be the tougher sign between the two.
For sure. In fact, Mike, I don't know if you've been hearing the same things I've been hearing, but I don't want to give out any sources or anything, but I've had multiple people tell me now that their sense is that it's going to take something special from the Saints to get him to come back at this point. I mean, I was saying 50-50 a few weeks ago. I think it's less than that now.
The guy to watch, and only because I know when he came out of Georgia and the Saints did try to make a deal for him last year, was Quay Walker, the linebacker from the Green Bay Packers. They really liked him coming out of Georgia. I love his progression as a player. I think his play, they didn't put that option year, but he played terrific last year for him. He's a long, lean guy. He is sort of built along the lines of Demario Davis in a lot of ways. If they don't come to terms with Demario, Quay Walker is a guy to watch. Now, and flipping that, I've always felt Danny Stutzman really plays the position Davis plays better than he plays on the will side. But I would not be surprised that if this team does not sign Demario Davis back, that they make a move toward Quay Walker from Green Bay.
I certainly think that is a possibility. They're going to have to. I mean, look, I think Danny Stutzman has a great future here with this team, but are you going to count on a guy that, didn't start last year as a rookie, played a lot, especially towards the end of the season, started playing more? But are you going to count on him to come in and fill that role? I don't know that you can do that just yet. So I think that's an interesting.
I like what I've seen from him. I think he is a really good football player, instinctively wise, understanding where to put himself in a position to make a play. He has gotten better in the coverage part of the game, which today you can't be one-dimensional.
Right.
You're just playing one down. If you can, all you can do is play the run. They taking you off the field. And you're awfully thin at linebacker. Okay, people, we got plenty.
That's right.
We got plenty till you get an injury. And then, well, why didn't we address it? Well, you're the first one to say, well, we got plenty at that position.
Mike, it's funny you say that because people talk about edge rusher and interior lineman and defensive back and whatever. If you look at this defense, which I think is actually in pretty decent shape right now, but I think linebacker is probably the thinnest spot on this roster on the defensive side of the football, especially now. I mean, this is obvious. I mean, Captain Obvious when I say this, but Demario Davis leads. There's no question that it's the thinnest spot, but I think it might be right now still be the thinnest spot.
When you look at talent depth, no question about it. No question.
They got to fix that.
And the other part about defensive tackle is you have Davin Godshaw in winter years of his career. And I'm not sure the same thing can't be said about Nathan Shepard. Okay, he's not a 28-year-old guy. I think he's 32 years old. You always have to take a look at that, okay, from a standpoint of age. What Cam has done is remarkable at his age to play up front along defensive line. I was a kid, and I saw Doug Atkins do it in his late 30s. But up until now, man, the Saints have had no one like him that can play at that level for that period of time. And, I think in that defense, when you can alternate people, I think it's really kind of helped his career. And also this craziness of Todd Grantham to kick him inside a defensive tackle made absolutely zero sense. Okay, he's an outside guy. Why Grantham thought he was better off inside, I got no clue. But that's why he's bounced around college and pro football all his life.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I guess the Dad family wants to talk about the defense this morning because, again, I got some questions I want to ask you. But Mark Gapsky asks, do you think re-signing Alontae Taylor is a must-sign?
Depending on what price. Okay. I like Alontae Taylor. I'm not sure what he's asking for isn't maybe way and above what the Saints are willing to pay.
Right.
Because if not, Jim, they would have signed him already, right? Okay, you had the components in place to give him a long-term deal if you wanted to. I think he would like to test the free agent market, no doubt about it. And he's a guy that plays a critical piece because he plays that nickelback spot that Brandon Staley. I know he's come on our show on WWL a few times and talked about how important it is, because on third down, most of the time, and I just did a few numbers on it, but 85% of the time, you're playing the team's number one receiver in the slot. So, okay, you're going up against a $30 million a year receiver, and you're going to put your third corner on him? That ain't working. That's why the slot cornerback position will be one to watch this offseason, especially if they can't come to terms with Alontae Taylor. And right now, I would think if you're going this far, the chances diminish every day that you can come to terms with him.
Hello, Ron. Hello, Phil. Welcome to Season 6 premiere of the Dattitude podcast here with Mike Detillier on this Monday morning, last Monday of February, about to move. We got Combine Week coming up. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Ryan O'Shea says, not to be negative. Well, when everyone says not to be whatever, that means they're going to be. But he's not as high as everyone on the defense. He thinks we're one Chase Young injury away from being a bottom feeder. I think that's a little strong. I actually, and that kind of leads into this next question that this is kind of how I wanted to start. This is how I'd plan to start. And I'll ask you this question because we like to use this term that you have coined, as far as I know, and I like to use it regularly here on the Dattitude podcast. Have the Saints begun to move up from rock bottom, which we know they hit? I'd say probably after that Rams game, they hit rock bottom. Are they beginning their ascent from the depths of football purgatory, Mike Detillier?
Let me see what they do this offseason. The one thing that gives you much more hope than you and I talked about this time last year, after the draft, after the preseason, you got your quarterback, you got your left tackle, okay? And if you're starting a team...
And your right tackle, I think.
Yeah, but if you're starting a team, you want to make sure you have a quarterback, you want to make sure you have a left tackle, center, edge rusher, cover corner.
Oh, that's it, huh? That's all they need.
No, but I think if I am building a team, that's how I structure it around those five pieces. And what's so funny, I heard Lane Kiffin make mention almost exactly to that point. We do this similar to the NFL in how you piece together a team. You want to have talent and depth all over. That is sometimes not attainable. But I do think when you have your left tackle and you have your quarterback, hopefully you can get your center healthy. And that is something that you got to seriously think about now, because this back-to-back years with Eric McCoy, who I think if he's healthy, he's one of the top 3 centers in the NFL. The problem is keeping him healthy. Fuaga, I think, is a really good right tackle. So you would love to get another edge rusher. And a lot of people don't talk about it. I still think cornerback is an area that you can upgrade.
Especially they don't sign Taylor, re-sign Taylor.
So I think when you look at a college team, when you look at a professional team, those areas, center, left tackle, quarterback, edge rushers, corner, if you've got top people there, then you can build around that really, really well. But the Saints, for years, didn't have, since Ryan Remchek's injury, didn't have that guy, okay? Since Drew Brees' retirement, didn't have that guy. The way teams were playing Cam, it was different. Now you got Chase Young that you have to be cognizant of all the time. At that edge position, you much better off today than you were a year ago at this time.
There's no question.
And now, if you can keep Chase Young and Eric McCoy healthy, you really got something.
To answer my own question, Mike, I think, and you go back to talking about where we were last year when we had the season 5 premiere, and you and I were talking about this. I think at this time last year, there was literally 0.0 hope that this team was getting out of football purgatory anytime soon. Now, you were glad you got a new coach and you could kind of start over, but you had no idea what was going to happen at quarterback. We still didn't know who the Saints were going to draft. Going into this time last year, you still thought, really, honestly, that you didn't know how bad Derek Carr was hurt. You really thought Derek Carr was probably going to come back at quarterback, or are you going to rely on Spencer Rattler? So obviously having your quarterback changes just the feeling of everything. And honestly, I think going forward, just to have the hope of getting out of football purgatory is a fantastic start.
Yeah, another thing now is once you have your quarterback in place, is to build, from the inside out now with it. Go in veteran free agency, grab you a veteran starting guard. Grab you one there. The other part I would look at is if I can get my hands on a veteran nose guard or corner in free agency, then I can open a lot of things up via the draft. Obviously, this team needs a bell cow runner. They need a number 1 back at this stage. Still need a wide receiver. Still need help at tight end. You would love to get another guy opposite Chase as an edge rusher. And again, you try to build not only talent, but talent depth, because you're going to have injuries. Right. Last year, I thought for the most part, now McCoy did go down and you had some injuries later in the year at wide receiver and running back, but you stayed relatively healthy in compared to the last 3 seasons where you had injuries everywhere across the board. I do think it's underrated when you.
I lost your volume there.
On your.
Gotcha now. I got you back.
Okay, you have to have talent and talent depth along your football team.
There you go. I think you're back again.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
But I do think that's a big part of building any college or pro team today, because now the colleges are stealing all of this from the pros.
That's right.
They look at the transfer portal. Everybody's building it the exact same way.
I agree. Jason Benson says, who else would want, going back to Demario Davis, who else would want Demario Davis to add to a multi-year contract? What's his actual worth in the league? He may have already been addressed, but he's just getting into the show, Jason is. Welcome, Jason. I think you considering a guy who's been as fantastic as Davis is, and again, not just on the field, Mike, but his presence in the locker room. There's no question since Drew Brees left that Demario Davis has been, he and Cam Jordan have been the unquestioned captains of this football team. And so when you ask that question, and you're also talking about a 37-year-old who has had his career highs in tackles in 2 seasons in a row, he's still got something left in the tank.
Either you got to get a new TV if you don't think Demario Davis can't play. Come on. And he still it's going to be his call on how much longer he can play. And he's always told us, I'll know it. I'll know it physically. If you get a year or 2, man, listen, in a big year, and then see what happens afterwards. But Demario don't have to worry about other teams getting in touch with him. I bet that agent has gotten a ton of calls.
Lance already Bills and Bears. I could see his old coach would definitely want him back if his old coach could get him. And I know Lance doesn't like when we say Derek Carr. So let's make it a daily double. If Dennis Allen comes to calling, he'd probably want to go there. I mean, if he get for the right price, he would want to hook up with his old coach. Yeah,
and the other thing too is with all this movement of head coaches, assistant coaches, it has spread out the tentacles all over the NFL, where you connected to this guy and that guy, and it's all over the place. And so I've always felt there was a better chance Cam to come back than Demario at this stage, because I think Cam kind of wants to start it and ended it here.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think he wants to start it here, end it here. And, we got a ton of people. Cam's done. He can't play no more. Now, you don't hear from him anymore. Just like quite possibly you might not hear from somebody who says, well, nobody's going to be after him in the offseason until he plays well. And why didn't we sign him? Why the Saints didn't re-sign him? Come on. You've done this a long time, just like I have. It's amazing to see it. The same thing kind of happened with Tyler Shuck. And, that was a big outcry. Well, you can't blame Spencer Rattler and all this and that. And then Shuck gets to play, and it's like he was able to elevate everybody else around him. And some of that talent wasn't great, okay? He was able to elevate them where Spencer wasn't. And that's the cut in this league. To have a quarterback that can take your team, similar talent around him, and be able to elevate the talent. You can't tell me Juwan Johnson and Chris Olave didn't play better with Tyler Shuck than they did with Spencer.
Right.
That's fact.
Absolutely did.
You just got to look at it. That is absolute fact when you see it across the board. And that's just the bottom line. But I know for some people, listen, we all wrong. When you evaluate players and coaches, you're going to be wrong. But for a lot of people, they don't like to admit, man, I was wrong on that guy. I was wrong on this coach. Okay, you just part of the group. I have a neighbor all the time, and he makes a funny line about, Mike, every time I listen to sports talk, I understand why God didn't make everybody rich. He said, there's a certain reason why God didn't make everybody rich. And I get what he's going after. I get it.
Certainly didn't make me rich, Mike. So I don't know what I did in between lives to, tick them off. But, we're still here, I guess. The last word on Demario, and I do what you talk about Tyler Shuck and, his what he's meant to this team. I certainly want to spend a minute or two talking about that. But last word on Demario, I'm going to compare Demario Davis at this stage of his career. Maybe he's a lot like Ricky Jackson was. And as much as Ricky Jackson loved the Saints, and obviously he's went in the Hall of Fame as a Saint, and I've actually got to know Ricky a little bit after his playing time. We played poker together a little bit, but he was show number 57, as a matter of fact. But maybe Demario just wants to have a chance at winning a Super Bowl. And the comment before, maybe going to the Bills or Bears, makes sense, because maybe if he went to a team like that, I'm not saying it's one of those two, but if he went to a team that's like that, maybe he wants to ride off in the sunset, says, you know what? I got 1 or 2 really good years left. I'd like to get a ring before I say bye-bye.
Jim, my comparison, and it's funny you bring that up. Last week, somebody said, compare Demario at the end of his career. Reminds me a little bit of Sam Mills.
Yeah.
Sam had a great career with the Saints. A lot of people were surprised he leaves the Saints and he signs with Carolina. And it was, why would he sign with the Panthers? And then look what he did for that franchise.
Exactly.
A lot of people were saying the same thing. Sam don't have too much left in the tank.
He sure did.
He played his best football. And all of a sudden he goes to Carolina, and then it became the flip. Why did we let Sam Mills leave?
Exactly.
It became one of them. So my comparison, I think, in a lot of ways, was Sam. Sam, and I did a lot of shows with Sam, and we would tease him. I was doing Second Guess at that time with Buddy DiLiberto, and they would always send Sam after a loss. So, Cam would come in like 3-4 times, sometimes 5 times a year. And so Diliberto and I would always get on him about, hey, we know they lost. We saw you ahead of time, and he got a kick out of it, but it was like you were talking to a football professor. The way he explained the game, how he played, and he sort of sounded at the end of his Saints career similar to Demario in a lot of ways. And then, he goes to Carolina. Man, you talk about a game changer. Hey, they don't put that statue up, in Carolina because you were an aging player and didn't have any more. Man, you meant a ton to that organization at a critical time for them. And I know Coach Mora has come on. Dom Capers has come on and said, best football player I was ever around. The best. Yeah. Now, you think Jim Mora was around Peyton Manning.
Exactly. And
he's saying Sam Mills was the best football player he ever coached.
Yeah, and then when we had way back, I guess a couple years ago now, when Sam was inducted in the Hall of Fame, unfortunately after his death, but Coach Mora came on our show as well, and then he spent 15 minutes. He spent 45 minutes on the show, but 15 minutes of it was talking about Sam Mills and just glowing over and over again. And you could tell, he feels like that Sam Mills coming in the league, and everyone, when he first got to practice, and his teammates were like, who the hell is this little dude and why is he here? And they realized pretty quickly on why Sam Mills was a Saint, So, when you got a guy like Coach Mora talking about that, like you said, all the players he's coached in his life, and he talks about Sam Mills and really Ricky Jackson. I think those are his two favorites.
Yeah. And I remember talking to Bobby because Bobby had signed on from the USFL. Right. And he's like, man, Mike, the first time I took a look at him was like, what? You got to be kidding.
What's this dude doing out here?
And then he said, we played the Philadelphia Stars. And he was like, man, he said, you always have this term. It's like there's two of them. It's like twins.
Right.
He's there. And he was like, he was all over the field. And he said, every hit sounded like a 3-car collision. Like when he would hit you, he said, the sound of that hit, he said, was so sort of loud at that point in time. So, I think there are some similarities with Demario late in his career and what happened with Sam Mills. And remember, Sam, he gets cut by the Cleveland Browns, and Sam Rutigliano plays in the CFL. They start the USFL, and he gets his shot there. And even when they came in, Coach Mora makes the comment, I knew he could play at the USFL level. I was always a little bit worried about, could he make that transition into the NFL? And he said, after 2 snaps in practice,
exactly
my
right.
words are gone.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it anymore.
He said he just smirked and watched him, and like everybody said, okay, that's why he belongs here. Jason wants to know, how old was he when he went to Carolina? I looked it up, and he was 36, so basically a similar boat as Demario Davis. Not only did he go to Carolina, as Mike said, but at 36 years old, 2 years in a row, was all-pro, was 3rd in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year in his first season with Carolina, and 4th in his second season. So, again, same boat as Demario. Why would somebody want somebody like that? That's why, because I think there's a good chance that he still got something left in the tank. All right. UBN asked a little bit ago, and this kind of leads me into, as we're almost finished here with the Saints, so I want to ask you a couple questions on LSU before I let you go. But he wants to know, what would you draft in the first round? Would you draft a running back, a wide receiver? And I know it's obviously going to depend a lot on what falls that far, but I've been screaming for a couple months now. There's a guy that wears a gold helmet that would look really good in black and gold, in my opinion, Mike. And, you want to talk about whether you help fill in with a veteran running back or not, but if the Saints go, and I know 8 is high for a running back, but I think in this case, you're talking about a kid in Jeremiah Love who is going to be 21 years old, or he just turned 21. So one of those things. But he's a guy who could be on this football team for a long time on a rookie deal. I think he'd come in and make immediate impact.
Yeah, I'm a big Jeremiah Love fan. It's not to pick a running back just to pick one.
Right.
The talent, the impact, the fit all have to come into play here. And I do think that he fits the mold across the board. He's an explosive guy, ability to make you miss. But what I love about him is his talent level to finish off a run.
Yep.
When he's going down, he's always going forward, gaining extra yardage. He's a terrific receiver coming out of the backfield. So I know a couple coaches on that Notre Dame staff, and I've asked them about, and they were like, you know what he does best? He's not, I wouldn't say necessarily, you know about his running skills, his receiving skills, how good he can pass protect.
Yeah.
And I'm, what? You got to be kidding me. A lot of these running backs coming out, they've never been asked to protect the quarterback. Okay? My deal, no, I'm just the running back or the receiver. Protect. You know, you got to learn that. And he's put a lot of effort in it. And he's just the type of young man that understands what it takes to play at the next level. And he is super talented. If he's there at 8, he don't get to 9 with me. There's not
100%, because I can tell you one thing: the Kansas City Chiefs are praying if they don't trade up and go ahead of the Saints to get him, which I think is a possibility.
I do believe
he is not getting past 9. 100% chance he doesn't get past 9. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, he's just a good all-around player, but he's a better person, and he can give you such a command of taking over a running game, but also his threat as a receiver. And I'm going to steal an Abe line here, because he used to say this about Drew Brees. Sometimes less of Drew is more.
Yeah.
And you get it, that you don't want your top quarterback throwing the football 45 times in a game. What you would like for him to do is to throw it 33 to 35 times, and you run it 28 to 30 times a game. That's why this team offensively, they need to understand that you've got to be able to run the football better. It is certainly a lot having to do up front and getting Eric McCoy healthy, getting you a top guard. But, man, if you can get a guy like Jeremiah Love at 8, that's where I would go.
Yep. Hakeem Big Dog, welcome this morning. Welcome back on the Season 6 premiere. Who dat daddy? Kansas City will do to us what they did to Mahomes. They're going to jump us. I don't know if they are or not, but I got to be honest, Mike, and I know this is how much, again, I'm not a guy who usually wants to move up. I'm not a guy who usually wants to draft a skill player in the first round. But again, I think this is a different kind of ball player who can help change this franchise. I know Kellen Moore is probably licking his chops the chance to get him. Would you think about moving up a couple spots to preempt what Kansas City might have in store?
I think part of that's going to be answered, Jim, in free agency. I would not be surprised that the Chiefs make a play for a top free agent running back.
They could.
You know, and so then that would take them out. That doesn't mean somebody else might not try to get in there.
Right.
But the one thing that everybody loves these mock drafts and to do it and all. I get asked by, 3 dozen people to do it. My thing is, let me do it after free agency.
Exactly.
It's much, much better. Now, when I was doing the draft book, I didn't have that leeway. I had to do it, at that same time. But I do think free agency plays a big part, especially with those teams picking early on where they'll go in the draft. I'm not talking about Mendoza and the Raiders.
Right.
I heard a national guy last week talking about, the Raiders aren't all in on Mendoza. My thing is, dude, how long have you been on the air and not understand what the Raiders are trying to do? In essence, they baited the hook. They want to see if somebody doesn't give them a Godfather offer. Exactly. And if that happens, then you make that decision. But Mendoza's going number 1. If you were just starting a talk show on television and said that, I would understand. You can't do that for 25 years and make that type comment. Okay, you had to start to think about that a little bit before you opened your mouth about it. But I think because Dante Moore decided to go back to Oregon, it has opened up now a lot of different options from 2 to 7, because you sort of figured even if Dante didn't end up with the Jets, somebody was going to trade up to get him, but you knew it was going to be Mendoza and Dante Moore. Now, without Moore, it is a real kind of shake of the dice. Arvell Reese would be easy for me at 2. I think he's the best defensive player on the board. And my thing is this off linebacker stuff. Okay, that was great at Ohio State. I'm telling him, Arvell, okay, do you see the guy that's going to get the ball from the center? Go put him on his butt, okay? Because, man, that guy got some unbelievable athletic skills and his speed coming off the edge. The other thing at running back is who goes second at running back? And that guy is not going to be a first-round pick guy.
No, it's going to be, that's going to be second round.
We're about a second-round pick guy, and here's the crazy thing. It could well be Jeremiah Love's backup in Jadarian Price.
Yep.
Man. And my thing is, last year, I had been told by a couple people that were trying to entice him to leave Notre Dame to go to their school to be a number 1 back. I'm good at Notre Dame. And great kickoff return guy. He's more of a change of pace guy. Outstanding straight ahead speed. I wish he didn't fumble the ball as much inside the 5-yard line. He had 3 fumbles inside the 5. And my thing is, for a team that threw the football a lot to Jeremiah Love, Price was not used that much as a receiver. I think sometimes coaches tell you something without telling you. Maybe he wasn't the surest hands coming out of the backfield, but boy, he's explosive. And right away, he makes an impact as a kickoff return guy, and he's scary as a kickoff returner. I'm talking about scary good.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the Saints treat this, and if they go out in free agency and maybe get a running back, or if they just wait on Love, or what they do, or maybe wait to the second round. We'll see. Brian says, he's welcome back, Brian. We're glad you're here. The more he thinks about it, he wants Mansour Delane.
Say that one more time.
The more he thinks about it, he would rather have Mansour Delane. What are the chances the Saints? I just don't see the Saints drafting a corner at 8.
Yeah, I had this conversation with my producer, Charlie Long, last week, because somebody asked a very similar question. And my thing is, the 3 guys for me at 8, if Jeremiah's off the board, the 2 obvious guys for me, one is Mekhi Lemon. And now everybody's right. I see now they got articles all over about Mekhi Lemon now. But Mekhi Lemon from USC, who is not the biggest, not the fastest. You talk about a dude that corkscrew you into the ground as a route runner. Great route runner. He's got some run after catch skills that, a lot of guys are fast on a track, but they can't run.
Right.
When you put a helmet on. Man, he's just the flip. I don't want him running anchor on my 4x400 meter relay team, but that dude is fast when he gets the ball in his hands and he takes off. And last year, you saw it early in the year, USC had a young quarterback, very talented, but he was hesitant to throw the ball at times. And almost you could see Lemon go to him and said, "Hey, kid, just get me the ball. I'm going to make you look good." Once the quarterback figured that out, man, he was dynamite. And the other guy is Mansour Delane.
Yeah.
Okay, when you look at how teams, they were leery. Every time they played LSU was, man, I'm not throwing the ball on that side. But Arkansas, okay, in a game that was horrible to watch from an offensive standpoint. It was bad. But Arkansas takes the ball, they move it all the way downfield. They get inside the 5, And the play call was a pass right to the corner near the chalk to throw the ball. And Delane baited Green to throw the ball. Man, throw it toward me. Come on, kid. Throw it toward me. And you saw as soon as his hand went up, and man, Sir Delane looked like the ball got thrown to him. He, plant drive hard to the football, got it. And my thing is, who in God's name come up with that and to throw it toward Mansour Delane's side of the field? Come on, dude. You can't be that dumb. You can challenge him deep. That part I would get, but you can't challenge him in that short field. He's going to bait you. And as soon as I saw his arm go up toward Delane's side, I'm like, you got to be kidding. And sure enough, picked it off. And really, had they scored there, that's a different game for Arkansas. And I think they probably end up beating LSU if they score a touchdown in that series. Delane is smooth as silk.
He really is. And I think he's a long-time player.
Really good.
Yeah.
And my thing is, his name would have to be in that group of players you think of, because he comes in right off the bat. He ain't watching. He's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no sit and watch. No,
I don't know that I would be upset about it if that's who they get, but I just think the Saints, when you're talking about what going forward, what can help change this franchise, and again, maybe Jeremiah Love isn't there, but I just think that a guy like Love, assuming he makes it to 8, I'm telling you, is a game changer. He's a franchise changer.
Now, the thing is, what if you decide, let's sign a running back in free agency? Then that opens up a whole new book,
right,
of things that you can look at. And that's why Love, Makai Lemon, Mansour Delane, those guys got to be looked at when you pick. But if Love's there at 8, he ain't getting the 9. That's all I'm saying.
And look, me too. And I can tell you, if he, I'm telling you right now, 100% chance. I mean, I don't even say 99.9. If he gets to 9, he ain't going to 10. I mean, I guess theoretically, if Kansas City, like you talked about, if they get a running back in free agency, I still think they would do it. Even if they get a running back in free agency, I still think they would take Love at 9. That's just my opinion, or at least trade out of the pick. I don't know. All right, I want to move on because before I let you go, I definitely want to talk about LSU just a little bit here. I'm going to change my slide here and show the national championship odds. If you can't see them, we'll talk about them. But basically, LSU, as of right now, is 7th, according to the odds makers, among the teams to having a chance at winning the national title in the 2026-27 season at plus 1,300, which means 13-1. But before I get to the odds themselves, you know what I think about Lane Kiffin, Mike. I'm still not sold. I'm not giving him grief like I used to. I want to be sold. I want to feel like all the other LSU fans do, but I'll give him this, and there's no denying him. And I know the portal hasn't been very long, but you can't deny. You got to give the guy credit, because this portal class is absolutely absurd. It's going to be a whole new team. We're going to have to get used to 22 new players for the most part. Maybe not 22, but pretty close to it. But what he's done in this portal is nothing short of incredible. Yeah,
you and Scott Woodward would be in that list, okay? Because I told you the story about Scott and Lane already. But he mastered this portal. The guy behind the scenes, though, that doesn't get a lot of maybe ink about it is Billy Glasscock. He brought in from Ole Miss. In a very short period of time, he was able to come up with these guys that he felt would fit in Lane Kiffin's offense. If it was that quarterback, it was that wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, certainly at the safety position. You add, a big-time linebacker from Ole Miss. And so Billy's done a fantastic job. But Lane, I got told by a staffer that Lane Kiffin worked harder on the transfer portal in the few weeks he was at LSU than they had saw Brian Kelly work the entire time. Because I think Brian got to this point as a head coach, and you can relate to it a little bit, that he had so much success that I just can coach from the ivory tower. I don't need to be involved with the nuts and bolts of everything that happens in recruiting. And that's not Kiffin. And Coach told me this. Hey, T-boy, I'm going to tell you this about Lane. That boy got some balls on him. Man, he ain't afraid to do nothing. And he's absolutely right. Get on a plane and fly to Nashville to try to get his quarterback. Go to Atlanta to get his offensive tackle, and told us a story. I had heard it that they were trying to get Jarvis Landry from Lutcher to go to USC. And Jarvis's mom's dead set against it. No way. He's going to LSU. But, okay, as long as there's a chance. And Ed always said that, hey, we were competing. And they flew a private plane, didn't know where to land it. And they actually landed it on a strip in the River Parish where they would put crop duster planes. They landed a plane there to go recruit Jarvis Landry. And then they were doing the new highway, so they got somebody come pick them up and drive them over to Landry's house to go recruit. Man, that sounds unbelievable, but yeah, you hear some of the other stories, it really makes a lot of sense. I think Lane, he has mastered this. Now, he's done extremely well there. How quickly all this comes together becomes the $64 million question.
There's no doubt.
You got 43 new guys with close to 20 high school signees. There's a lot of kind of missing parts here that's moving constantly. How quickly all this can come together will be the key to it. But there is no doubt. I think everybody's really pleased on what they saw. And I was able to have Verge Osbury on last week.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
And Verge was, man, it was just to watch those guys operate and how they knew who they wanted, target players, go after them. And he said, it was unbelievable to see probably 80% or so of the guys that they tried to get, they were able to land.
Right.
And Verge had talked to me before, and he had talked about the lack of physicality, that LSU had gotten away from that. And he was like, I don't know where we lost it, but he said we had lost it. And to hear, Coach Kiffin talk about the physicality part of the game, and that even though you don't associate Ole Miss with physicality, look the way they run the ball. Okay, name me an offensive lineman over the last 4 or 5 years from Ole Miss, but they run it well, and they know how to run the football extremely well. And they're not doing this with 4- and 5-star linemen. So he gets it. Offensive line to me is still a big I don't know, because it is like a dance group. One person out of sync and it throws everything off. But if you'd have told me that Harlem Berry and Caden Durham would both return, I'd have said no way. One of them's gone.
Yeah, I thought Barry was going to come back, but I did not think Durham was coming back.
No, I didn't either. To bring in Sam Levitt, I think he's a perfect fit for this offense. Right off the bat, when I watched him at Manning, I was still recovering from my knee replacement. And so the guy, well, who does he remind you of? Right off the bat, Jackson Dart. That's who he looks like. His game is centered very similar to Jackson Dart.
That makes sense.
And then when you look at Hassan Longstreet, he's a different player. He's a waggle guy. Okay, comes out of the shotgun. He's either rolling left, he's rolling right. Bang. It's quick, out of his hands.
Is it just a connection with USC, Mike? And that's
yeah, and also Hassan has talked about this, that when he was coming out, who recruited him really hard, Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. They wanted him to go there to be the heir apparent to Jackson Dart. And it wasn't the case. And so, man, to get those two guys, and then you get...
And Longstreet could be at least Longstreet could be a 2-year starter for this team in 27 and 28, right?
That's what I think. He's not the biggest dude in the world. Physically, he looks physically a little bit like Chambliss, who he's at Ole Miss. Because both of them, if you say they're 6 foot tall, you might be sort of stretching.
Right.
They might be on tippy toes, but man, they're both accurate. They both can move around the pocket well. Everything will be predicated on what happens up front. The receiving core, you brought in a host of guys, and a couple will emerge as the man. And when you got Trey-Daz Green, I want to see how defenses play him, because Lane is so innovative. And this was during the year Coach Orgeron had come on with us, and he had talked about, I'm an old ball coach, line coach. What I see is offensive, defensive line. He said it's amazing with Lane that he can see all 22 players on the field and tell you what's going to happen one play ahead of time. And he's like, Mike, to be there, you have to see it to believe it, how he can do it and how quickly he can process it. Now, like you said, the hard part is to get the quarterback to understand what Lane's trying to teach him. And he said, that's why early in a play, you'll see the quarterback take it. And before the ball's out of his hands, the clipboard is up in the air. he knows he's got it. He knows he's got it there. Deuce got the best line for it, because, Deuce comes on with us quite a bit. And he was like, Mike, just make sure everybody knows this. I got no tickets for LSU Ole Miss. No tickets. I can't get no tickets for Ole Miss. If LSU beats Clemson, that certainly would pave the road for them to be undefeated. You look at Ole Miss's schedule, man, both these teams undefeated. I don't know if it's September 18th or 19th, but it's one of those 2 days they play. Man, game day.
It is September the 19th, third game of the year. Ole Miss opens at home against Louisville and Charlotte, and then they're home for LSU. So on September the 19th. So yeah. So
game day at the Grove, and you better have security all around that place. That place is going to be another man with Lane coming back, and then he gets to go back to play Tennessee again.
Yeah, he sure does. On November the 21st, second to last game of the year. In fact, both LSU's last 2 games are on the road, an interesting schedule. So they open up against Clemson and Louisiana Tech. I'll put that slide up here next time. And then at Ole Miss is like we talked about. So before their first 5 games at home, the one in the middle is the one that everybody will be looking to. And that, of course, is Ole Miss. Earl says, Lane is my Coach Gucci of college football, meaning I call Mike McDaniel. I don't think I've used Mike McDaniel's actual name in probably a year, but there you go. I actually said it. No, I think Lane Kiffin is much better than Mike. I have almost no respect for Mike McDaniel. I actually have respect for Lane Kiffin. I just think I don't always love the way he handles himself, I guess is the way to put it. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, Mike, because we kind of have to. So I'm going to give him the benefit. I just hope he's what everybody thinks he is, and he doesn't walk away in 2 or 3 years if something better comes along.
Well, that's going to happen. I hate to break everybody the news, but, every ending for him has been messy.
Yep.
Okay.
Even when it's not his own doing.
What makes you believe that it won't be messy?
That's my point.
Okay. And so you have to accept that. It's almost like, and I told this to one of the guys at work. It's almost like you dating a gal that's been involved with a lot of guys and broken up, and it's all been messy.
Way more pretty than you.
Yeah, and then you start dating them and say, well, she won't do that to me. What?
Exactly.
I almost would tell him, dude, turn around so I can kick you. Because you
That's
know
the same analogy that I used about 6 weeks ago. And look, it is what it is. I guess in the grand scheme of things, Mike, if he wins a national championship or two, then you can forgive him for the kick in the ass that he's going to give you on the way out.
Yeah, and my thing is, I've always told you this about a coach. I want him to leave my team better than how he took it.
Yep.
And if that's the case, and you think about what he had to deal with in a messy divorce from Ole Miss and how it got here and how many schools, and I brought this up to Verge, and he said, Mike, I can't remember ever seeing it. You have a new president at LSU, a new athletic director, a new head coach, all within a month.
Right.
Name me another school that was like that. That is, you talk about a lot of events happening all at one time frame. That's what happened at LSU.
I gotta get Verge Osborne's contact from you. I'd love to have him on the show. I think he would be a fantastic guest. I know that you were thrilled having him on the show. All right, last question here before I let you go, Mike. And I got the odds on the screen again. Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Indiana and Texas all plus 700, all 7-1 to win the national championship. Oregon at plus 900, Georgia at plus 1,000. LSU 7th on the list at 13-1 to win the national championship. Do you think that in his first season here, Sam Levitt at quarterback, you got Jordan Seaton as your left tackle, you got all kinds of new players coming in, all the transfer portal that they've done, does LSU have a realistic chance to win the national championship in his first season here?
Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on it, but
Yeah,
but just because I see what, Ohio State lost a lot of people, but I do see the machine in place. It's like, that you lose one top guy, you got another guy right behind him who's every bit as good. Oregon is another team because you return your quarterback. The system they have in place there.
Yeah, that was a big middle finger to the Jets. Return the quarterback. I'm not going to play for the Jets.
Yeah, because, man, when you look at the money at the second pick in the draft,
I know.
Talking about $50 million.
Right.
That you turn up. Guaranteed.
Right.
To play one more year of college football. Here's the crazy part, and everybody at the station, they get a big kick out of this, but it is true. I'm old enough in this business. I saw college athletes fighting to get out of college to go to the pros. Now I see college athletes fighting to stay in school and not go to the pros.
It's insane.
How unreal this has become now. And for whatever reasons, Trinidad decided that he wanted to return for another year. The same thing with Dante Moore. And I understand with Dante, I know one thing, Phil Knight's checks are never going to bounce. Those Nike checks are real good, but they ain't $50 million good. And, with Trinidad, man, I
can't blame Dante Moore though for not wanting to go to the NFL and play. Look, he's betting on himself, and if he has the year that people think he can have, now I mean, sure Garrett Nussmeier was saying the same thing this time last year, but if he has the year that he expects himself to have, he's betting on himself that he can get that same contract and not have to go play for the Jets.
Well, what happens if the Jets have the top pick in the draft, and then now
then he's hosed, then he doesn't have a choice.
Man, then you sort of caught there, but
he'll still take his $5 million NIL to the bank, though.
Yeah, that's all great. But my thing about it is, why is the NCAA fighting guys and they are giving other players 7 years of eligibility? You got a young man with 9 years of eligibility, and they fought tooth and nail a year ago.
I don't know.
Avia at Vanderbilt, and then fight Trinidad Chambliss here. Man, who does this help? Doesn't it help the NCAA and the SEC to have Trinidad for another year, and you fighting this? Either they are the worst bookies that
they are off. They're really poorly.
Money,
it's poor
out there, and when you got to buy time on national TV to tell you how good you are, like they do, that goes to show you they've done nothing for the game, for the players, for the coaches, for the fans, other than steal money. Steal money. They've done zilch.
Well, you've been talking to Dale Brown. Like, you're starting to sound like Dale Brown now, Mike.
Listen, Dale said it long before me, and he is absolutely right. These guys are unbelievable how they are out there stealing money from networks and everything else and getting their piece of the pie. And every once in a while, they want to show you, hey, I still got a little bit of power, so I'm going to fight you.
Right.
That's the last time they've won anything at any level.
It's been a while.
Okay.
They're still raking in the money, though.
And here's the other part. Then this crazy thing about, well, we're going to go to Washington and get, our politicians involved. And they can't the mess we in now. Now you want them to get involved with college athletics? Jeez, that's crazy stuff. But that's the world we live in. And I know LSU fans wouldn't want to hear this, but man, I was thrilled to see that Chambliss got another year to play. He's such an exciting player to cover. Because I got to do Tiger tailgate and everything else. And we on the station of LSU, you got to pull against him in that game. But man, I'll pull for Trinidad, because you talk about a guy that had to fight the odds to get to where he's at today.
Wasn't even a starter.
It was him. And
I know.
I give Kiffin and Glasscock, too, who was also involved, a lot of credit for figuring out that guy might be really good in our system, because they came in with a young man with Simmons, who really didn't have a lot of experience at quarterback. But boy, he looked the part. Man, at Manning camp, he was the second guy I interviewed. So Charlie was, Mike, who are we going to interview next? I said, that guy. He was like, man, is he standing on a chair? I was like, oh, no chair, dude. His feet on the ground. And he was such a nice guy. And when he told me, I just turned 19 years old, I've just graduated from Ole Miss. He actually graduated from high school at 16.
That's crazy.
And graduated at Ole Miss in May at 19 years old.
I'm just going to say that doesn't make you smart, Mike, because I graduated from high school at 16, and then I went to college for like 9 years after that. So I'm just saying it doesn't always work out that way.
Get that degree, Jim.
You're right about that, Mike Detillier. All right, tell everybody where they can find you on the airwaves tonight. Are y'all still going to Silver Slip on Monday nights, or that's only during football season?
No, we finished that last week.
Okay.
It was great because we got Drew Brees to come on with us, and then T-Bob, finally had some time, so he wanted to do the show. And
T-Bob's a busy man these days.
Yeah, he's a real busy guy, and it was his birthday, and so he was taking the kids out and with them and everything. So man, we had a great time, and one of the best guests we've had on, Jen Mueller, who's for the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
She is really, really good, and so we had her on like the Thursday before the Super Bowl. And I've just jokingly told her, hey, when Seattle wins, I'll get you back on Monday. She was like, Mike, you call me. I'm going to make time to come on. Sure enough, made that time. They had a little bit of party hardy, from the Super Bowl and everything else. But, yeah, it was a great show. So, no, everything's in studio. And it's good. So, but I got Mo Buddy. I hadn't had him on in a while. Pete Jenkins comes on with me tonight.
Oh, okay. What, tonight?
Papa Pete at 5:20 tonight.
Oh, I gotta listen to that one.
Pete travels the world and trains defensive linemen today. He's in Mike. I'm in
How old is he now, Mike?
He's 83 years old.
Jeez, That's
And
crazy.
so he tell me, Micah, I'm in Oregon. And then he'll tell me, Mike, I'm in Dallas, Texas. And I'm in South Beach, Florida. He traveled. He said, I ain't going nowhere where it's cold. But he said, I'm going to go everywhere else. He said, I got to go work with the Bills. He said, but I'm going to wait till everything comes.
Wait till it's not winter anymore.
No more winter up there. Here's the craziest. We had Zach Streif on 2 weeks ago about Drew and everything. And Zach was, Mike, people talk about, how climate change is. And he said, listen, it's all cyclical, all this, who knows what's causing this and what's not. But he's like, it's only has snowed one time since January 1st. You know what happened? Second half of the AFC Championship game. He said it hadn't snowed before or after.
That's crazy. That's insane.
I looked, and when I texted him, he was like, how cold is it? Well, that morning, I think it had got to like 26 down here. He said, what the low temperature was here? Like 33. So he was like, it is colder on the bayou in Louisiana than it was in Denver, Colorado.
That's crazy. And JC, JC is a regular here. Yeah. He's not on here this morning, and he usually is, though. He likes to come on and give me a weather update of what's going on in Denver. And honestly, no joke, the last couple months when he gives the temperature, a lot of times it is colder here in Mandeville than it is in Denver, Colorado. So you never know. Well, we're looking forward to seeing what you got going on, Mike, and so glad to have you on the Premiere. Again, third straight year you're on the Premiere. We love having you, Mike, and I know we will talk to you again before the draft.
Thanks so much, Jim. Always appreciate it. Always do a great job, my man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
Mike Detillier, everybody, here on the Dattitude podcast on the season 6 premiere. Again, when I'm thinking about who I'm going to get on for the season premiere, there was nobody else I wanted. If he wouldn't have been able to come on, I would have been heartbroken a little bit probably, but I would have had to find somebody else. But having a chance to have Mike on for the premiere is always a great thing. Even if you don't care about sports, you can just listen to his voice for an hour. And that's pretty cool. You can do stuff like that. Kyle Sherman, I peaked early. There is no question I peaked early, Kyle Sherman, but I'm here. Lance said they let me out of Shaw at 16. They didn't have a choice. Long story, but I started high school at 12 years old. Don't get me started. I learned they don't let you do that anymore. They don't let you. I skipped the grade earlier in my school life, I guess is the way to put it. And it was a huge mistake. I'm glad they don't let you do it anymore. And if for some reason they did, I would never let my kids do that. It was an awful thing when I went to LSU at age 16. Let's just put it that way. While my friends are out there having a blast and, doing what 18-year-old kids do in their first few weeks of college and all that stuff. Yeah, I wasn't doing that. I was stuck in my dorm room, ready for band camp. That's right. I was in the LSU Golden. At least I was in the Golden Band from Tigerland. There's always that. Ryan Hendrickson, always a treat to hear Mike Detillier. No doubt about it. Ryan said earlier, eligibility stuff needs to get under control. It's not gonna. They don't know how to get it under control. The NCAA does not know how to get anything under control. They have screwed themselves into the ground like a corkscrew down. That's where the NCAA is. All this is because they screwed things up years and years and years ago, decades ago. If the NCAA, I don't know how many times, if they would have just gave in and let players get paid even a little bit back in the day, they wouldn't be in this boat now. They screwed themselves. They deserve it. Before we bring Gabe on for the first time in season 6, we told you earlier we'll let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. And when you ask, how do they do it? That's probably the best question we'll ask all year, or one of them for sure. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, Native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area. If you don't believe me, just go look. There are 0.0 with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. You know what's really important. I don't have to tell you what's not really important because you know what's really important. The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Mike D is most certainly the best in the biz. That's why we're always happy to have him on. You know where else we're happy to have him on? He's back behind the scenes doing his thing. I don't know. I clicked on the slide. I think it's on, but there it is. Gabe Henderson is Monday. It is season 6 premiere. How did you spend your couple of weeks? I know you weren't off because you're always doing something in the background, but how did you spend your 2 weeks away from Dattitude?
Watching baseball.
All right.
Doing stuff around the house. Pretty much it.
Baseball. What kind of, you mean LSU college baseball? All right. LSU baseball. You mean the LSU baseball? They disappointed a couple people apparently in our Slack. If you become a Dat family member, you get access to our Slack channel. And I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody out there was getting a little upset saying when they had a slow start against, I don't remember, maybe it was against Indiana. I don't know. Whoever. Okay, so whoever it was against, they had a slow little start, and then they ended up winning 14-7. He goes, okay, maybe I was mistaken. So we can't panic. They're not going to go 60-0 like LSU Alexandria did last year, and we had their coach on our show. It's just not, doesn't happen in D1 baseball. Anyway, so and real baseball's about, well, not real, Major League Baseball, I should say, is also about to start. Spring training is underway. What have you got for me this morning?
So a theme of today's show, well, the latter half of today's show has been the NCAA and how they piss people off.
Yeah?
Well, I made the mistake. You asked what I did during our little break. I made the mistake the other day of clicking on an ESPN article.
Oh, that's dumb.
And it pissed me off.
Okay. Why would you do that?
So let's talk about it.
All right.
ESPN, I'm not going to give the writer more publicity because I can assume what he was after with this.
We'll just call him.
It is a list ranking college football's top quarterbacks since 2000.
Okay.
So
how many? 20?
No, 100. There's 100 quarterbacks on this list.
All right,
obviously, I'm not going to
just tell me how stupid it is. Just tell me where Burrow is on the list.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
So I was scrolling down the list. You know, it is what it is. The first big surprise was at number 87, Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, okay.
Was sitting over Mackenzie Milton, who you may remember, Dattitude listeners may remember, quarterbacked UCF during the great seasons that they had. So that pissed me off already. You know, kept going down the list. Geno Smith at number 79. I think he should be a lot higher. AJ McCarron at number 76. I think he should be a lot higher, especially considering Zach Wilson comes in at number 72.
Mackenzie Milton, by the way, threw for just shy of 10,000 yards.
He was fantastic. And if it wasn't for a broken leg, I think he would have had an even better collegiate career.
And then didn't play in 19 and 20 and went from 18 and then didn't play in 19 and 20 and played in 2021 Florida State, but only played in 6 games. Huh, okay. Interesting.
So here's where when you rank 100 quarterbacks, there's bound to be some inconsistencies. But one thing that pissed me off here was Kyle Trask at number 56.
Oh, wow.
You're going to tell me a guy who started 22 games in college had a better collegiate career.
Florida didn't even really do much when he was there, did they?
No, they didn't.
I was going to say, did I miss something?
No,
did they do?
You didn't. This is very heavily, what I learned is this list is very stat-based.
Okay.
But then you've got guys like Stetson Bennett at number 44.
Oh Lord, you don't start your Stetson.
No. I was going to say, to be fair,
for those of you who don't know, who haven't been here for at least the last 200 episodes, it creeps in every now and then. But Gabe does not like Stetson Bennett, and any chance he gets to pile on.
I'm not going to rag on him here. I'm actually not going to rag on him here. Here's where my gripes really started to. This really started to make me angry. Coming in at number 36, Diego Pavia.
What number?
36.
The 36th best quarterback, and how many years?
Since 2000, so the last 25
years. 25 years. That means that Diego Pavia was basically in the top 2 of quarterbacks in some era, which would be never. The era of never. That's absurd. Okay.
Number 30, Bo Nix.
I would actually put Shedeur Sanders ahead of Diego Pavia. I'm not saying I would put Shedeur Sanders at number whatever number.
I don't disagree. And just ahead of Bo Nix, you got guys like Jalen Hurts, Case Keenum, Carson Palmer. Weirdly enough, this one I don't.
Carson Palmer wasn't longer than 2000. Longer, I guess.
He played from 98 to 2002, so they only took the 3 seasons.
Okay. All right.
From 2000 to 2002. The one that I kind of scratched my head at, I don't have a problem because I don't have anything against this guy. Dylan Gabriel was number 25.
No.
Which is just a super weird one for me. Jaden Daniels came in at number 20, just behind Andrew Luck, Matt Leinart, Jameis Winston, Sam Bradford, Kellen Moore, from 20 to 15. And then at 14, Fernando Mendoza.
People forget how good Fernando Mendoza. That ain't stat based. He only threw for like 2,700 yards this year. What did he throw for last year?
Well, he won a national championship and a Heisman. That's where I'm telling you the inconsistencies come in.
Where's Burrow?
So Mendoza finished with 8,200 yards in his collegiate career.
Okay, all right.
Kellen Moore, the guy ranked behind him, finished with 14,667.
Yeah, but he played for Boise State, and then I guess
Fernando Mendoza played for Cal.
Yeah, that's true.
And then just to rattle off, we're getting there. We're almost there. We're almost to the end. Johnny Manziel, number 13. Colt McCoy, number 12. Trevor Lawrence, number 10. I don't have a problem with any of those. Although I would have flip flopped Trevor Lawrence with Deshaun Watson, who, not a surprise, is in the top 10. I think Trevor Lawrence was just a bit better, but I get giving the kudos to Deshaun Watson from bridging Clemson from that
college. It's close. Yeah.
RG3 at number 10. Marcus Mariota at number 9, Lamar Jackson number 8, Kyler Murray number 7, Deshaun Watson number 6.
Lamar Jackson number 8.
He won a Heisman. He was very good at Louisville.
Better than Jaden Daniels.
Finished with 9,000 career passing yards, 4,000 rushing yards, 50 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, whatever. I don't think he was better than Deshaun Watson either, or Trevor Lawrence for that matter.
No, but the thing is, he has the Heisman, so that's where I guess you could.
I guess.
And I believe he actually beat Deshaun Watson when he was at Louisville. Anyway, to answer your question, coming in at number 5 is Joe Burrow.
Okay, I can't wait to hear the 4 ahead of him.
I only have a problem with 1. I think where they messed up.
Let me guess. Derek Carr.
No, it's not Derek.
Sorry,
number 4, and I believe number 4 should be number 1. Number 4 is Tim Tebow.
Oh no.
Tim Tebow should be number 1. If we're talking, no. This takes into account your entire collegiate career. 2-time national champion, I believe. 2-time.
I don't know.
Heisman runner-up as well. Yeah. No. Tim Tebow, absolutely. Oh, he had 3 top 5 finishes in Heisman. Tim Tebow.
I don't know.
Number
1.
3, Vince Young.
Okay.
Number 2, one Cameron Newton.
I mean, Cameron Newton's in college was.
Would you like to take a guess at number 1?
Oh, that's okay. So it wasn't. It
wasn't number 1.
Number one in college. Don't tell me somebody stupid like Ensminger or fucking.
No. Since 2000.
Okay. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I should know. Wait, don't tell me yet. Let's get other.
Yeah, let other people guess while I'm looking up UBN's question. I don't know if
Mark Sanchez or Matt Leinart.
If neither. Matt Leinart was 18th, I believe.
Okay. Lance
Vince
says
was better
than Cam in college. I don't know. It's close.
I agree because he
good.
had the longevity. Cam didn't have the longevity. He had the 1 year because he got kicked out of Florida and then went to play at. I don't know if
you're gonna say Tua, right? It's not Tua.
It's not Tua. Tua, I believe, is like 20th.
Okay, and it's definitely not Jalen
David
Davis.
Carr was 60. I don't believe Derek Carr was on the list.
I was just joking. Derek Carr doesn't belong.
No. I know, but UBN has.
He doesn't really mean it.
Still.
I mean,
give him an answer.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think. There's no really good Alabama quarterbacks.
No, AJ McCarron was in like 50th. Jameis was 17th, I believe, Ryan.
No, James. He said, "Where's Jameis?" Jameis was in the top 15, right?
17.
Yeah, 17. Okay. Jameis was pretty damn good in college too, but he was. I don't know. Go ahead and
Lance,
tell us.
Do you still get angry at David Carr?
Oops.
It's not Mariota Brian. Mariota
Brian, yeah. That's not a bad guess, Marcus Mariota.
The fact that no one can guess this
goes to show that it's pretty I mean, it's Burrow, sorry.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh no. Come on.
ESPN has said that Baker Mayfield is the best college quarterback since 2000.
No. You're kidding.
No, 100% serious. That is their number one, was Baker Mayfield. So that Baker was better than Cam. Baker was better than Vince. Baker was better than
doing that, though, there are going to be probably at least 8 or 10 people in this chat alone who are going to go find that now and click on it just to see how stupid it is. So people make these lists, and I've said this before. No, whoever wrote that and whatever dumbass that wrote that, you can be dumbass of the week. I don't know. Maybe we'll have one. Maybe we won't.
I considered it.
But that is why people it is proven that they just write shit just so they can be somebody can look at. That dude doesn't believe that. You know what I give that dude? That's what I give him. I give him a gum.
I know that Baker was fantastic in college. I know he has better numbers, but that's because he played in the Big 12 in 2 pass-heavy offenses for 4 seasons.
Yeah,
you can't tell me that a guy never,
USA.
Not only he's not won a national championship, he never won a playoff game.
DPA USA. He apparently feels the same way about Jameis that Lance feels about Carr. No. Jameis
was fantastic in college.
I thought he was fantastic in college. Yeah, I mean, by the way, he says something earlier. I was going to respond later, but I'll respond now. Saints should go after Romeo Doubs. Packers are not going to retain him, even though they should. He was the most reliable and productive receiver. He
was not,
especially on third downs.
Watson was their most reliable receiver.
Yeah, no. Well, Watson gets hurt too much.
He does. So does Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, but not as much as Watson.
No, I agree.
He is ridiculous.
The Packers are. The Packers wide receiver room is weird. It's a weird amalgamation of number 2.
Because they have a lot. I actually think they have a lot of talent in their wide receiver. In their wide receiver,
they're all
room.
number 2s. That's the
but
thing.
they just
none of
they
them are.
Don't. They just don't. They either don't stay healthy or, last year I'm drawing a brain fart. The kid from Texas Notre Dame, Matthew Golden, Notre Dame. Sorry. Texas, right? I knew it was right the first time, but
trust me, I remember.
I think he has a shitload of talent. It just he just disappeared. He didn't do anything, and finally he started playing a little bit better towards the end of the season.
He had his first touchdown in week 16 or 17.
I don't think the Saints and DP. I don't think the Saints are going to spend money on a wide receiver in free agency. They're overpriced. You're better off just spending. First of all, they're going to spend the money on the guy they already have in Olave. And I think second of all, that's going to keep them from going and spend money on a receiver and free agent. Maybe someone that's like a number 3, number 4 kind of guy, a second tier kind of guy. I just don't think they're going to do that. And I think they'll draft one early. I'm not saying, I don't think in the first round, but I do think they will. Look, this is not apathy. Stop watching other people's podcasts let me put this a little differently, who aren't necessarily correct. They have 50 million big spenders. They're not big spenders. To spend that kind of money, they still need to kick the can. I don't care that someone doesn't agree with me. I wasn't going to get into money today. They're not going to be big spenders. They're still 24th out of 32 teams in cap situation. Next year is when it's money. Next year they'll spend money. They're not going to spend. First of all, they're going to spend big money on a guard. The second thing they're going to spend, I know, okay, it's a joke. The next thing they're going to spend money on is on defense. And then that's going to wipe away most of your money. Then they're going to have to fill in here and there. Don't get me started in the cap. Don't want to do that here already.
Someone like Tyreek Hill interest you, Jim?
Hell no. You insane?
Can we just... So I know NFL free agency hasn't started yet, but for deals that are just so painstakingly obvious, can we just have that window be open anytime? Because I don't care when it's... Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City is an inevitability. That is going to happen.
Yeah.
Worst kept secret.
Yeah.
But just going down the list of free agent receivers, I could see the Saints going for someone like a Noah Brown or a Greg Dortch. Guy that would be a true Josh Reynolds.
I could see a guy like Greg Dortch being a Saint for sure.
I actually really like.
I like Greg Dortch. He's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player.
He just doesn't get any attention.
Yeah, Lance, you're right. They only got to kick the can 1 year. No, because what happens is you end up spreading that out. They're going to spread out Cam's contract. Okay, what other people too. When you say you got to kick the can only for 1 more year, you still have to spread it out for more than 1 year. Okay, it's still going to be spread out for more than 1 year. But apparently, some people say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So maybe I don't know.
I'm not going to pretend to know the salary cap. I don't.
Okay, well, I've learned a lot about the salary cap the last few years.
I have not.
And it is absolutely complex, but I love when people tell you they know everything about there is to know, but
nobody knows everything about the
exactly. Mickey Loomis doesn't know everything there is to know about salary cap, but it's supposedly easy. It's not kicking the can. It's not kicking the can. Yes, it is. If you're putting money, if you're getting something today and paying for it later, that is the definition of kicking. I don't care if it's $5. If you go buy a candy bar and you say, you know what, I'll pay you 2 years from now, means you're kicking the can.
My favorite thing over recent years has been all of the companies that now offer like payment plans for things. I think like Klarna is one of those companies. And to see some of the ridiculous shit that you can put on a payment plan now is insane.
It's
hilarious.
You can go on Amazon and put almost anything on a payment plan now.
It's scary.
It's beyond scary because it's teaching your generation that it's okay to kick the can. And trust me, from someone who's kicked the can in his life much and learned lots of lessons from kicking cans and finally figured it out when his age started with a 5. It took that long to figure it out. Just saying, don't do it. Don't do what I did. What else you got for me, Gabe? Time to go bye-bye. This show, I thought, what a fantastic premiere we had. It's good to be back.
Completely agree.
Don't have much else. And you didn't get my goat on the first. I mean, usually people are excited, that when you start riling me up, my face turns red. I mean,
I was gonna let ESPN writers do that today.
Okay.
Because they certainly got me going the other day. That list pissed me off, and I knew it would. I clicked on the link and I'm like, I shouldn't have even done this.
You can Uber on Klarna.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
You can though, as someone who's done, I never used Klarna. Just saying. All right. I will see you on Wednesday when we have Koki. That should be fun. Talk about LSU baseball. All right, everybody. That was Gabe Henderson. Yeah, man, a good premiere. Y'all like this? I mean, I guess they're not really subtle changes. Some of them are pretty drastic. We have changed our look. I've been looking for a way we need to get more of the screen in play here. And so I decided to put everything on the side. We're going to stop doing headline slides and stuff like that. I mean, I do have, I did not use it today, but we have a graphic in the background that I have set for later. Like if we want to use a full screen chart, we can do that. We want to show tweets, we can show tweets. And you can see we're using the ticker at the bottom now. We're using it right now to say hello to all the people who have become members of the Dattitude podcast. And it's the best way. If you've been here for a while, and you can, you don't have to, you still get, as of right now, this is going to change because members are going to get things in the very near future. Just haven't figured out what they all are. But for right now, I'm going to be clear and transparent. It's really the only thing you're really getting besides the Slack channel is you're getting everything that all the free people get too. But it's the best way to help support the channel and support me as an independent journalist and to help keep this show in the air. We're working on some more sponsors too, and hopefully we'll have that in the near future. But again, as I left you with season 5, I want to thank everyone who's come and met me here on season 6. I thought, thank you so much, Ron. An outstanding season opener. Yeah, I thought it was a very good opener. Always when you have Mike D. UBN says he doesn't like the new setup too much in my face. Just wait till you're on, pal. I'm going to make sure I'm going to do, can I do it now? I don't know if I can what happens if I do this? No, it didn't work. What happens if I do this? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do when you come on. If you can't see, if you're listening to the podcast after the fact, I've hid my face behind a screen. When UBN comes on, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put him over there behind. Yeah. All right. Anyway. Earl says, Clarn and all those things that 0% knowing 75% of the folks going to mess up and miss a payment, and then boom, 100% interest. Oh, I did that too, Earl. My credit used to start with the same number my age starts with now. Thank you, Jerry. Great stream. See, that's perfect for him. He means when he comes on, that's what I should do. Put him behind the graphics. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. All right. That's enough screwing around for one day. That's going to wrap it up for us on this Monday. That's what the script says anyway. I want to thank today's guests, Mike Detillier, Gabe Henderson, and you. You're not just a guest. You know that already. You're a family. We hope you can join us next on Wednesday. We told you this already. We'll tell you again. Our guest is Koki Riley of The Advocate, the Times-Picayune, and NOLA.com. We will be talking a lot about LSU baseball. Of course, in my monologue, I will touch on the Saints, I'm sure. It is NFL Combine Week. Who knows? Whatever y'all want to talk about, we'll talk about that in the monologue. And after the fact, Koki will probably only be on for 20, 30 minutes. We'll talk about Saints after if you want. We're going to talk about LSU football a little bit, get his thoughts about that. Later this afternoon, if you haven't had enough of me, I will be on Varsity Sports Now doing play-by-play for Newman girls basketball. It is the what round are we in? We are in the second round of the girls basketball playoffs, Division III Select. Newman is hosting Episcopal, the 8 versus the 9 seed. A reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications. You'll always know when we go on the air live. Our next show, again, is Wednesday, February 25th. Always Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. Friday, I think it's Zach Ewing. I've not confirmed with him yet, but I'm fairly certain he is coming on. And again, if you would like to monetarily support the channel, you can become a member of the Dat family on YouTube. We would appreciate it. Love you so much. We'll get you on the scroll as well. We'll get you on the scroll. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. We will see you all on Friday. It is so good to be back. Welcome back, Dat family. We will see you Wednesday. And until then, take it easy, my friends.